You know,
I like contrarian principle. I like contrarian principle a lot.
Yeah, it makes you money sometimes, you know, but of course.
But have you ever get bonds doing contrarian?
No, not necessarily. That contrarian may possibly work better with equities, you know, but for bonds, you have to be mindful of the interest rate environment and all of that. So you structure along those lines. That's your forecast, inflation, and all of that. You have to come to bear in taking your homing in on your strategy for the fund.
I'm particular also about the issues around asset selection and portfolio building. Mm-hmm. When you trying to, we have very small markets in Nigeria. Yeah. The products are very limited. So is it very easy, therefore, to select your assets and build a portfolio mix that delivers both in good times and in bad times?
Well, there's a lot of opportunities still. The market has room to grow. But of course, you see that, especially on the federal government side, there are a few bonds or reissuance year in, year out. For NDF, we track strictly state and federal government bonds. But there are other assets, other mutual funds that can track other assets. For instance, the equity bond, we track the blue chips of the exchange. So there are opportunities where you can, is about using what is available and making the best use of it. In terms of opportunity, even though we track sovereign local bonds, we have not been able to do local government bond, for instance, which should qualify. You know, because the sovereign it should be classified as a subnational bond.
But you do subnational? Like Lagos State?
Yeah, of course. That's what I mean by state bonds. We have Lagos State, I mean, we do state bonds, and we have some of them in our portfolio. But I'm saying that you can't go, in fact, if my memory serves me right, there's been only one local government bond in Nigeria. And that's the Lagos Island.
Yeah, that was early 90s, I guess.
1992.
Yeah, early 92 for the Surah market.
Surah shopping mall, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. We should have more local government bonds, shouldn't we?
Yeah, well, maybe with the autonomy, with the National Assembly is considering giving the local government some bits of autonomy so that they can have direct access to their funds and all of that. Because right now it may not make sense if the states control the resources and you're tracking the local government, whereas you could just easily.
But maybe we need to go back to and dust up the books, how Lagos Island was able to do a bond 23 years ago or more.
And it was quite successful.
Yes.
100 million at
yes, about 100 million. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, of course. In 1992, 100 million is a lot of money. But you see, you could see that it was also highly priced. I think it was at 24.7 or so percent and all of that, you know.
No, the interest rate environment then was high.
Yeah, but the state government bonds around them were about 16, 17%, you know. But because it was a level lower than the state bond, it had to be highly priced.
The Lagos State is big. Lagos Island local government is big. The revenue there is big.
It's probably bigger than a lot of states in Nigeria, you know. So
interesting. Interesting. Look at the performance of the NDF vis-a-vis the total market return and other peers. You think this trend, this chart over 2013 to 2016, about 4-year period, gives me a very good picture of what I'm looking at on my TV screen.
Yeah. Yeah, so of course for all mutual funds, for portfolio managers generally, we track our performance against a relevant index. And for a fixed income fund like the NDF, we use the Access Bank bond index. And consistently, we've just shown, I think this is the last 5 years, but consistently we've tried to we've done fairly better than the market. Of course, there's an outlier at some point and all of that, but we've tried to be consistent in our
a final one. How does the economy, the state of the economy as a whole, impact funds management?
Of course, the fund management is about the economy itself, so if the economy is doing well, then the funds are likely to do well and all of that from the point of view of subscription and even return on investment. So, for instance, the plan by the Ministry of Finance to go into dollar loans into foreign loans instead of to refinance some part of the domestic loan. We think that would, but of course there's some, that should help the Nigeria economy, because then debt servicing will come at a lower rate as against what it is now. You saw the FGM bond, which was about 7.8%, whereas the domestic bond of the same government is priced at 16.9%. So it makes sense to do that, to take that kind of strategy. And that overall would impact fund management and all of that, where these funds are properly used. It brings income to the average Nigeria, and then if they can survive, meet their basic need, then there will be surplus for investment.
That's a nice one. It's good to have you here. Ola Belgore, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer at Afrinvest Asset Management. Let's go back after the break. One of the biggest problems for the country is unemployment. Michael Adile is talking to us after the break.